Hey, Johnny, just letting you know we didn't need that full 5 minutes, so I'm going to give you a call to start in about 30 seconds. Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, this is Station. I am ready for the event.
Representative Grace Meng, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Congresswoman Grace Meng. How do you hear me?
Congresswoman Meng, this is Jonny Kim aboard the International Space Station. I hear you loud and clear. It is so good to talk with you again.
Woo! Awesome. Hi, everyone. I'm Congresswoman Grace Meng, and I represent parts of Queens in Congress. Thank you so much for being here today. It's super exciting day here in our borough. I want to thank New York Hall of Science, to Lisa, your whole team, to the NASA team who is also here. Thank you. To my staff who has worked hard on this event, and obviously our astronaut, Jonny Kim, who in April arrived at the International Space Station for his very first space flight. He's on an 8-month mission conducting scientific research, and he's no stranger to Queens. A few years ago, he came to our borough where he visited some of our schools and met with our local leaders. So this is kind of a full circle moment for him this morning. And we wanted to hear from him and cheer him on. One of my main jobs in Congress is to get federal money to fund programs through NASA and agencies like NSF. NASA not only sends our American astronauts to space, but helps fund so many programs for our students here in Queens and New York to learn about different STEM subjects. So I'm thrilled to be here today. We are so proud to have arranged this event for the best district in the country. Thank you all. And I'm proud to hand things over to Jonny Kim.
Hey, Congresswoman Meng, it doesn't seem that long ago that I was in your district. And, just thank you so much for all of your years of support, your years of service, and being such an advocate for STEM and NASA. I hear we have a lot of questions to run through, so I'm ready to receive whenever you are.
All right, let's have our students come up. They are ready and have prepared really tough questions for you.
Sounds fun.
And I am going into 4th grade. Did you always want to be an astronaut? And what advice would you give to others who want to be an astronaut?
I have not always wanted to be an astronaut. When I was a kid, I just thought that those kinds of jobs were for superheroes, not for people like me. But with a lot of hard work and a lot of believing in myself over the years, I came to realize that when you work hard towards something and you're okay failing along the way, you can achieve great things. So my advice would be to stay curious, listen to your teachers and your parents, and work really, really hard.
How hard is the transition of being a naval officer to being a medical school and to being an astronaut?
So, there were a lot of challenges for me switching from the Navy to being a physician and being an astronaut. I've stayed in the Navy the entire time. I would say, though, that there were actually a lot more commonalities than there were differences. And the biggest commonalities were how important it was to learn how to be a good follower, a good teammate, and a good leader. And I think that those lessons, as far as listening, learning to work together, having a lot of compassion, they work well in any field.
Hi, my name is Kylie. I am going into fourth grade, and my question is, what is the best space food that you have and what food do you miss the most?
Ooh, I miss sushi, I miss pizza, and I miss Korean food. The best food that have had so far is actually what came up in a care package. So we get cargo missions that come up and they resupply us, and we get a small space for personal items. And my friends and family actually shipped up some kimchi and rice and spam. So I was able to make kimchi fried rice, which is not as good as what I can make at home, but it was pretty good for being up here.
Hi, my name is Sebastian Navarro. I am in sixth grade and my question is, what type of research do you do in space?
We do research from anything from technology demonstrations to biology, physics, chemistry. One of the biggest experiments is actually our own bodies. So NASA is really interested in how our bodies react to long-duration spaceflight. And so we do a lot of tests, such as measuring the size of our optic discs, or measuring our blood pressure, or seeing what our organs are doing with ultrasound. And with that information, we'll be better able to understand how humans respond to microgravity, and hopefully how to address it so that we can go do really far, long-duration missions to the moon and beyond.
Hi, my name is Luca. I am going to fourth grade, and my question is, what happens if you get sick in space?
Hi, Luca. So we have doctors on call at NASA at any given time, 24/7, 365. So if anything happens, someone doesn't feel sick or they get hurt, we can call down and have immediate assistance. We also have crew medical officers on board. I'm one of them that's trained, and so I also have previous medical experience. So with a lot of teamwork and planning, we can address almost any issue that comes on board.
So how does it feel like to be living in microgravity?
Living in microgravity is super fun. You feel very, very light, and watch this. So I can let go of my microphone, and I can even float. And it's super, super fun, never gets old. I think this is one of the things I'm going to miss most when I return to Earth.
Hello, my name is Jack Mazzy. I am going into fourth grade, and my question is, does being up in space mess up your sleep cycle?
Jack, it kind of does, especially when you first get up here. So we're going so fast, 17,500 miles an hour. We orbit the Earth 16 times a day. So that's 16 sunrises and 16 sunsets. So we need to we base our circadian rhythm off of, Greenwich Mean Time is what we use as far as to tell what time it is here. But we also have special lights inside to let us kind of adjust to how the lights might be during the morning, day, and then in the evening.
It's Grace, and I'm back in Queens. Sorry. Sorry.
So I think the next question was, what's the most challenging part about being in space? And it's kind of the same as being as the challenge of being somewhere really far, is missing your friends and family. And I miss my family, I've missed my kids, and I've missed some milestones. But that's what public service is about: is you make sacrifices in something that you believe is going to contribute to the greater good.
You ready to answer? Yes,
Hi, my name is Ethan Gale, and I'm going to fourth grade. And my question is, how long does it take to travel to the International Space Station?
It depends what kind of vehicle you're going, what kind of profile you're on. For me, I traveled on a Russian Soyuz rocket, and so it was about 4 hours. Crew 10, who I'm on the space station with, had a different profile, and they took 28 hours. So it can be as short as 4 hours or as long as 28 hours.
I did second grade. And my question is, what do you do?
So I think the question is, how do we get back to Earth from the International Space Station? So the spaceships that we come up on, they remain docked to the ISS for as long as the crew that arrived in them are on board. And that's so that we have a way to return to Earth in case of any kind of emergency or situation. And so the way we get back into our spaceship. We do a specific type of burn that slows our speed and our velocity, and we re-enter Earth's atmosphere.
Michaela, ask the question again.
Michaela, if you can ask again, please.
I didn't quite hear the question, but I think the next one is, how do we stay safe aboard the International Space Station? And so everything we do on the International Space Station is based in safety. We work in tandem with ground teams who detail procedures. We have training to address any kind of emergency. And so whether we're doing science or doing a spacewalk, safety is in the corner of our minds.
Okay. Jonny, we all would love to know, what do you do for fun in space?
Oh, there are so many things to do that are fun up here. One of them is, of course, looking out the window. We have the most incredible view. But also another thing, I'm going to do something I tell my kids not to do, and that sometimes I like to play with my food. So you can see here, I got some water, and I like to float it up here. And because everything is weightless up here, it just kind of floats. It might be a little bit hard to see, but I've got a little bit of water. And so playing with food is a very, very fun thing to do up here in space.
Hey, I think we have time for one more question, right?
Nope. We have 4 extra minutes. Let's wait for Houston's turn. No, you have time.
Somebody go ahead.
Next question. How and where do you sleep?
So I'm going to say, I live in a crew quarters. We call it crew quarters. It's like a closet. I would say the size is actually closer to a phone booth. But then again, I think not everyone listening on this might know what a phone booth looks like. So it's like a closet. We don't need very much space, but it's got everything I need. And I sleep in a sleeping bag, but it's tied to a wall because I don't want to float away when I'm sleeping. But it's actually really, really restful. I don't have a pillow because it would float away, but it's one of the... sleeping in space is definitely unique.
My name is Rory, and I'm going into 5th grade. And my question is, who would you say the biggest inspiration for you to become an astronaut?
Hi, Lori. I think my parents. My parents immigrated from South Korea so that their children could have a better life. And so I feel very lucky and privileged to have been born in America, to have all the opportunities I've had. And so when I think about that sacrifice, that is what inspired me to be the best I could be. Of course, I've had a lot of mentors and teachers and people really impactful for me as I was growing, and they've all have had a hand in the dream I get to live today.
My question is, what was astronaut training like for you, and what was most challenging?
So astronaut training is about 2 years. It's challenging, it's diverse, and when I think back to it, I think the most challenging part was trying to be good at a lot of very different things, but also being very comfortable with failure. I think that's one of the most important things in anything you're going to do, is just being comfortable with failing and working outside your comfort box. That's the best way we learn and get better.
My first name is Zoe, and I am going into 4th. My question is, what does being in a microgravity environment feel like?
Hi, Zoe. It feels like surfing a cloud. Everything feels weightless. The heaviest things up here don't weigh anything, and that includes our bodies. And that lets me to do cool things like float in space. And that's what it feels like to be in microgravity.
My name is Chloe, and you're already into this, but how do you get back to Earth from the International Space Station?
How do you get back to Earth from the space station?
How do we get back to Earth and the space station? So the spaceships that we came up in, they're still docked to the International Space Station. And so we get back the same way we came up here. When it's time to go, which for me will be in December after an 8-month mission, I'll go along with my crewmates into the Soyuz vehicle. We'll make sure the pressures are good. We're in our spacesuits. And then we're going to do a special type of profile that's going to slow our velocity. And it's going to help us descend back to Earth's atmosphere. And then we'll land and be reunited with our friends and families.
Okay, so we are out of time. And our students who didn't get to ask, please submit them to our office. We'll make sure that Mr. Kim gets to see your questions, okay? The final question is, what are your future plans when you return from your current mission?
You know, the first thing I'm going to want to do is hug my kids, hug and kiss my wife, have some amazing food. And after I've had a little bit of time of readjusting back to Earth's gravity, I'm looking forward to helping the next class of astronauts get ready for space. And then after that, just contributing to our current space exploration program. There's just so much out there, and being a part of this public service is one of the greatest honors of my life.
Well, Thank you so much to all of our students for these great questions. We're going to wrap up the program and let Jonny get back to work. He's doing crucial work in space, and we really want to thank him and the whole team for spending some time with us live from the International Space Station. What a treat for us. He is always welcome in Queens, in person or virtually, talking to us from above our planet. What an amazing event, and it's awesome to see him inspire so many young people in our borough. Jonny, we wish you all the best during the remainder of your mission and look forward to watching your return to Earth. Thank you so much to the NASA family for working with us to set this up. Thank you to the Hall of Science for hosting us this morning. I look forward to working to support NASA's critical mission. And if Jonny could want to say bye to our students.
Congresswoman Meng, thank you for your years of service and being such an advocate for STEM and NASA. Kids, you had some great questions. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of them. And just remember, with hard work, being comfortable with failing, and having some compassion, there's nothing you can't achieve in this world. And with that, goodbye from the International Space Station.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thank you.
And thank you to all of today's participants. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.